the a-hole for dropping my mom off at a homeless shelter and going home to my wife. My mom has found herself penniless after 37 years married to my dad because my dad is in jail for stealing money from his employer, stealing it over the decades he's worked for that employer. When my dad was first arrested, me and my wife advised her to file for divorce immediately. If she's telling the truth in that she did not know what he was doing, never noticed their finances were changing, then she needed to divorce him immediately. Have a game plan, any game plan of sorts. But she fell into a state of shock. Had several breakdowns that led to her being rushed to the hospital because she thought she was dying. She wasn't dying, it was all panic attacks. However, before all of this came to light, she was still being treated for high blood pressure and arthritis from aging. I finally had enough of watching my mom decide not to divorce because she was always a housewife and finances made her head explode. My dad pled guilty, but not before cleaning them both out with legal bills and then being stuck with restitution. My mom has been wringing her hands. She got a job at a packaging place, but had multiple mental breakdowns that has caused her to be fired. She'll rant on and on about how she did it all right. Now she's lost the house, and the other friend she's been living with has been put on notice by her husband that either my mom leaves their house or they divorce. Now my mom is begging me and my wife, who is my only priority and, to be honest, the first person I felt true encompassing love of any kind from. She is somebody who I in many ways grew up with, emotionally speaking, because I was such an emotional wreck who didn't know how to handle relationships before I met her. She is an RN and I am in real estate. I was a top seller at my previous agency, and then me and a business partner decided to start our own thing. We both worked for all of our 20s and to be where we are now financially. My wife is my family. We do not exist as junior, subordinate members of my dad's family, which is what my mom expects us to be. My mom has kept begging us for help. Her attempts have ranged from her showing up at our door and crying and pleading. We've been too nice to just tell her the cold truth. It's not our responsibility. As somebody in real estate, I understand that the Section 8 system is broken. Many landlords find ways to avoid Section 8, and she could be on a wait list forever. However, there are homeless shelters that give housing as long as you understand that you'll be living with people who are also at rock bottom. They probably won't be Mary Sunshine towards you. I ended up meeting her for lunch and then telling her I was getting her help. She agreed to get in my car, and I ended up driving her to the homeless shelter. She started screaming and saying the people there are violent, have threatened others, that there's pests in the shelter. I said nothing except that she needs to get in line so they'll give her a spot since it's first come, first serve. Am I the a-hole for driving away and going back to my wife? Edit, since most people assume I had a loving mother, my mother told me growing up that she was glad she had me, a son, because my sisters as women were a lot of drama. And every time they had emotional needs, she would dismiss it as drama. She fostered the rift between me and my sisters and said that I would grow up to build the world while my sisters would grow up to maybe support those who did great things. In addition, after my dad's infidelities became clear, she took out his infidelities on my sisters by saying that the way they were dressing, they would attract the attention of married men, and that she didn't think they had the character, they were 17 and 18 at the time, to not cheat with married men. Even accused them of wanting power over married men because that was something she found out about women through my dad cheating. I'm glad OP gave us that edit because I think if his mother was actually a good person, I think OP would be the a-hole, but clearly he doesn't have the healthiest relationship with his mother. And if anything, I think this might be a good wake-up call for her. It sounds like she's living in her own delusional bubble and she needs to break out of that. OP is not the a-hole. What I will say is it would be nice for OP to put some energy into helping his mom. Not saying she deserves it or anything, but reading the story, I kind of felt bad. It sounds like she was totally brainwashed and handicapped by OP's dad, which sucks. Like, that totally sucks. That's the reason why she's the way she is.